I just spent the last 2 days setting up this raised bed, filling it with soil, and adding the Vego Garden Irrigation Kit on top. In today's video, I want to walk you through all the details about the irrigation kit specifically. Let's get into it. Irrigation in a raised bed is so important if you want to grow some healthy crops. Certain plants, like cucumbers for example, will grow to be misshapen if they get irregular watering. That's why I love to put irrigation on top of all of my raised beds, and I love to set them up on an automatic timer so I can control how much water each bed is getting every day. It's very common to see drip irrigation where you'll have button drippers or line emitters on your raised bed. But this product is a little bit different because most of the time you're using something like a mister right here or even a sprinkler to water your raised bed. And you can control the flow so that you can make them spray harder, spray wider, or a more narrow space, or even more gentle. You can also easily move these misters like this and change the direction or change exactly where it's pointing if you have something like a big tomato plant and you want to put a mister right on it. Now on a drip irrigation system, you'll normally see poly tubing. You'll have a main line that's probably 1/2 inch, and then you'll have a smaller line that's probably 1/4 inch. Now these are metric system units, which maybe you love that or maybe you don't, but these larger lines on the outside of the bed, these are 12 millimeters or 15-30 seconds. And this line that goes all the way to a sprinkler, this is going to be a little bit smaller. I believe it's 10 millimeters. I've chosen to set up this new raised bed in a 2 foot by 8 foot configuration, which I love because I can easily reach the center. And now I have two in parallel so I can plant a lot more vegetables this fall. Vego Garden's instructions on the drip irrigation product shows different layouts for different configurations of raised beds. So I did the C-shaped configuration, which you'll see recommended for the 2 foot by 8 foot raised bed. And I got the irrigation kit in the large size because that's what was needed for 2 foot by 8 foot. Right here is the supply. You can barely see a shutoff valve right here, which I kind of buried. This is a little bit different than what they normally show on their advertising. A lot of times they'll have this U-shaped connection right here on the outside of the bed, but I much prefer to have all of my irrigation contained inside the raised bed. I have a lot of sod around the raised bed and I want to be able to edge it without worrying about clipping a hose or something like that. So I chose to route it on the inside of the bed. That would be very difficult if your bed was already set up. That's why I did it on a brand new raised bed, and I was able to route the water all the way up here before I even put any soil in it. So it's something to think about if you're putting it on a new raised bed versus putting it on an existing raised bed full of soil. Now let's turn it on and I will show you how we can tweak all of these misters to spray a different intensity or a different location. But first I need to turn the camera off, go to my app to control the water, turn the water on, and then I'll get back to you in just a second. Okay, so my timer, I know I'm gonna get questions about that. I use an Orbit beehive timer and it's connected to my lawn sprinkler system. Vego Garden offers a timer that would go on your normal outdoor spigot, but I already had a programmer so I didn't pick that one up. But it is something to consider and something that I would recommend doing if you don't have an automated timer. Now let's look at the watering. Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to show you how we can adjust it. You can see how there's like two sections right here. One stays still and one will twist. You could really make it like point straight down. Really concentrated. Probably not my favorite setting. I feel like it's kind of disruptive. And then you can keep turning it and widen that setting, widen it. And then you can also curve this so it's closer to the soil or higher up or more like a spray like this. I mean, it wouldn't move by itself, but you get the idea. I think I want a wider diameter, but I still want it to be spraying the soil like that. And this right here, this is a little shutoff valve. How cool is that? On each individual mister, you can just turn it off. Or if you want it to be like less flow, like a drip. You just turn it slightly on and it'll drip just like that. And this might actually be the setting that I prefer, something like that, because it's on the same zone as my drip irrigation system that uses button emitters and 1/2 gallon per hour emitters on my drip line. So I want it to be similar. I don't want to run these both for 30 minutes and then realize that this raised bed is severely overwatered in comparison to the other one. And that's what is so great about these adjustments. I'll be able to tweak that until I feel like it's right. So this is the C-shaped configuration. This is an endpoint. That's an endpoint down there as well. And it's fully done with misters all the way around like that. But this part right here, I used this bracket. Hold on. I used this bracket right here. You can twist them, turn them. It's pretty nice. You can change the angle that it comes out at. And then this line goes all the way out there to that that sprayer out there, that sprinkler. And I believe that's adjustable too. Let me go over there and try to twist it. I think there's a twist. Yeah, see, it's twisting. It's max to min. Or I thought it was. Ah! Whoops. All right, now is a good time to, I'll keep the water running, but I need to fix that. So over here, I'm gonna turn this shut-off valve off. The whole bed should turn off when I do that. Now I'll go back over here and fix my oops mistake. This is a new product for me, so I'm not used to it. Now we can turn it back on. Now I can see a dry spot right there, and I can just fix that by turning this mister a different way. So you can adjust this however you'd like. If you would prefer not to use misters and you want to use more of the sprinklers instead, you can do that. There's lots of different options in the kit. And I love how secure it is. Each bracket is connected to the top hole on the raised bed. That bracket contains a nut as well. And so when you remove the top bolt and nut to the raised bed, and then you put the bracket on, it's very secure. That bracket is what holds that T connector for the hoses, and then you just connect it, and it's pretty easy. I have set up drip irrigation on my older raised beds, and those I set up using some of the traditional parts that you might find at your big box store or at Drip Depot, with 1/2-inch poly tubing and a 1/4-inch emitter line and even some button drippers. And it works well, but I do like how all of these pieces snap really nicely together. And we'll see how the plants really like this coverage versus the emitters. That's going to take a little bit more time for me to learn. We're in the middle of summer right now, so I think I'm going to put some Thai soldier long beans in this raised bed, maybe some okra as well, and we'll see how it works over time. Back in April this year, I was invited to a Creator Connection event at the Vego Garden Farm in Texas, and I got to talk to a whole lot of other gardening content creators. And what really amazed me at that meetup was how many people loved the Vego Garden Irrigation Kit. And me coming from, the perspective of, really, how much better could it really be than, the traditional drip irrigation setup where you just kind of put some parts together from the store. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's so great. You need to try it. And so I finally got my hands on it, and I do really like the way that it feels. It feels really durable. I like the way that it connects to the edge of the bed. And I really like all the different shutoff valves. If you're having an issue with one, or if your plant is having an issue right there, you could just turn it off. And that kind of control is usually not built into one of those drip irrigation systems that you build by yourself. Normally we only have the shutoff valves at the bed level. But I think this is really cool, and I'm gonna like it a lot. I think in the near future, I'm not finished this garden adjustment project. I want to put another raised bed over there. And so I think I may very soon have a video for you about how to connect one bed to another bed with the Vego Garden Drip Irrigation Kit. If you're shopping for something else from Vego Garden this Father's Day, use my promo code in the description box below and the pinned comment below. It gets you an extra 5% off on top of any sales they're running. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.